track by a few tenths of a second. Even Toprak, not as fast as that as he manages his pace at the front of the field. So again, it just goes to show Jonathan Ray is able to make the Yamaha work. It's just a case of making sure you're that little bit further up the field at the start of the race.
This looks like an 8th consecutive score ride for Jonathan Ray. When you think about how miserable it was at the start of the campaign, he'll be pretty satisfied with that, just to keep making some progress. 2 top 6 finishes in Assen, 2 top 6 finishes at found last week, and looking for his place. The pair of them making progress on the man in front of them, Nicolo Bulega.
Yeah, Leclerc, he's got round about half a second clear track, and Lowe's needs to come past Iannone. He'll try and do that into turn 13 to leave himself half a chance to attack Leclerc, but it's tough to make those moves.
Worth mentioning, Leclerc is under investigation for course cutting at turn 1, so both Iannone and Lowe's could probably do with being as close to him as possible in case there were to be a post-race penalty. I don't think we're going to get a penalty now, obviously, on the final lap of the race. But it's all about Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Round movement before the last went down. Ready Gardner coming through from the middle of the second row of the it's side by side for the race lead. Nicolo Bulega hits the
and Petrucci and Bautista. When your luck's out, your luck's out, and his luck is very much out at the moment.
Nicolo Bulega, meanwhile, his teammate hits the front, contrasting fortunes between the 2 factory Ducati riders. Bulega looks set with championship advantage over teammate the reigning champion Bautista. Stalking him now, Toprak Razgatlıoğlu until the end of lap 3, when Stephen the Superpole race was warning before eventually coming through to the front. Bulega was able to respond once, but Razgatlıoğlu came through and clear at the first turn on lap number 4. Will Razgatlıoğlu get the job done a little bit earlier this time? But at the moment, Nicolo Bulega ahead of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu in second. Great start here from Remy Gardner. He's up to third. Alex Lowe's in fourth position with Michael van der Mark moving up the order and making progress, as well as Michael Bulega. So good start for Lowe's.
Yeah, Scott Redding as well into 8th position. Good effort from Jonathan Ray lost out a few spots in that ultimate lap, so he dropped down to 10th position, but good start for BMWs with Van der Mark to get himself up into the top 5. Toprak had a bit of a moment in turn 15, managed to collect it. He's going to just build his way into this one and then give himself a chance to lead this race in the next lap or 2.
Start of lap 2, Michael van der Mark's going to run off the final turn against Alex Lowe. We know there's going to be a problem of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Look at the pair of them closing down the Yamaha into turn 1, and van der Mark has been commit to passing both of them. Through on Lowe's, through on Gardner, and van der Mark with that opportunity he's had yet to take that over from the end of it.
Yeah, when van der Mark has an opportunity, he tends to grab it with both hands as well, so this is a real podium opportunity for him.
Not least because Alvaro Bautista, because Danilo Petrucci are out of the running. I can tell you that incident between the 2 of them in turn 1 will be investigated by the stewards after the race. Both of them are out, so there'll be no sense in penalising them as the race continues. Razgatlıoğlu nothing to choose now between them, and Toprak gets his move on and leaves van der Mark in his dust.
Turn 15, he's going to try and make some sort of a move, you'd imagine, certainly at the end of the lap. Doesn't have to push too hard, he knows he's got more speed than Bulega, so he can bide his time and then come through when he feels comfortable.
So time regulation is a factor here in Most. That's why Pirelli have brought the harder allocation with us to the Autodrom. Razgatlıoğlu again stalks Nicolo Bulega for that lead positioning from turn 20 on this lap number 2, but Toprak will feel his way alongside Bulega. Advantage later on in the race should certainly be with Toprak. All friends as far as both Bautista and Petrucci are concerned. The top 2 in the championship, meanwhile, are going head-to-head up front, and Michael van der Mark is closing in on the pair of them. Bulega it is who leads by a tenth of a second or so ahead of Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. Van der Mark gets back down. It was entering to the second of the start of the lap. It's now just half a second to Nicolo Bulega. Bulega, Razgatlıoğlu, van der Mark, your podium trio.
Yeah, the one thing you know about van der Mark is he's not the way through the that it's about staying at the front for as long as possible. That's how you're able to give yourself a chance of the podium or big points. Let's have a look what happens on the run into turn 1. Bautista's on the outside, Petrucci's on the inside, and he's got nowhere to go. He's sandwiched between them, and that's what happens when you're not getting any luck to Alvaro Bautista and trying to get battle. Iannone has a run off as well. He's gone in hot into that corner, but just looks like it's a classic Most case of 3 into 1 doesn't go, and the
the jump start, which was pretty visible off the line. So Alex Lowe is going to have to serve 2 of those long lap penalties. Normally costs about 5 or 6 seconds, a double long lap penalty.
Yeah, it's a shame for Lowe there, because once he jumped, you saw he stopped, and then he loses that ground into turn 1. So then take that into account in this case. It wasn't the Lowe's, and it's almost like you're better off just to bolt to try and take that advantage.
Nicolo Bulega has taken an advantage at the head of the field, maintaining his gap with a new personal best last lap around. Best part of 2/10 of a second at the end of lap 3. 4 tenths back, Gardner 6 tenths in arrears, so second now for Alex Lowe. Rickman gets those podium positions, he sits down in P5. Razgatlıoğlu still menacing on the tail of Bulega. Get the impression, as we did in the Super Bowl race earlier on today, that Toprak really could assume top spot whenever he fancies. And Alex Lowe ducks to the outside line. See where he reaches. This is half of his double long lap penalty now served. He will rejoin, I think, just behind Michael Rinaldi. So lots of Scott Redding and a few places locked there for Alex Lowe at the start of this race. Remember, he started
it looks like he lost probably by just under 2 seconds, so not too big of a penalty here at Most compared to some other places.
Bulega and Razgatlıoğlu still nose to tail. Toprak just picking the right moment, but he won't want to hang around too long behind Nicolo Bulega, because the heats will be coming off that Ducati racing. And while you might be the ambient temperature is here in Most, I think you'd like to have some clear air in front of you.
Yeah, it's up to 32 degrees, so it's gone up a degree even in the last half hour. And if you're stuck behind a rider in front of you, it means that that tyre, especially in the front, is just getting hotter and hotter. The pressure goes up, it gets harder and harder to find some grip. So Toprak doesn't make this move, you'd imagine, on this lap, but he just gives up a bit too much crowd in that final sector compared to Bulega. But in this first sector, he's really strong. He's right back on the back wheel.
Another new personal best lap for Nicolo Bulega. Toprak closing it down. Still covered by less than 2 seconds. The field splintering because of Alex Lowe's penalty. Michael Rinaldi now up the sink. Might not be too long before Lowe gets through on him, but I think it's going to be a lot quicker for Toprak to get through on Nicolo Bulega. Lap 5, and now Toprak seems to be willing to push on to make this overtaking move.
Yeah, Bulega goes well to defend into 10, not to be able to defend into turn 13. You'd imagine Toprak will probably try into the next right-hander to try and give himself that chance to come back through. But Bulega's got his bike working well, as you can see.
Nicolo Bulega pushing on hard here. New personal best lap. Razgatlıoğlu, the man with the pace advantage in WorldSBK at the moment, has had back-to-back wins. And here he goes, launching to the inside of exit of turn 15 through turn 16. 20 up the conventional way to make that move. But underneath the bridge, Razgatlıoğlu the master through there. Into the front of that car.
Struggling on that change of direction and the agility with his Ducati.
The opportunity for Bulega is going to be to get close to the Toprak coming off turn 21 and try to pass him midway down the 792-metre start finish straight. If he doesn't, Toprak, under heavy braking into turn 1, is going to escape away. Bulega tries to close him down and does so, but look how much closer on the brakes Toprak is in towards turn 1, and he gets it stopped. Razgatlıoğlu, your leader at the start of lap 6.
Razgatlıoğlu and keep that race pace. Now Bulega doesn't have the race pace to go with him.
Bad news for Alex Lowe. He's served the second half of that double long lap penalty as quickly as possible. He comes all the way down to 12. So a very severe penalty for Lowe, given that effectively he penalised himself off the line there by moving and then immediately stopping the other riders then starting their race before Lowe could get off the line. Ducati scrap earlier on today for second position. This is a Yamaha battle for fourth place. Remy Gardner versus Andrea Locatelli. It's for the best of the rest, but there might still be opportunities for the podium for either one of them. Michael later on in the race, and Nicolo Bulega as well. We saw how he played in race 1 yesterday afternoon. It's a long race of 22 laps.
It's a 22-lap race, 21 corners around here, very high temperatures. It's difficult out there, and we will see what the final third of the race brings. But as it is right now, Toprak's opened up his gap. Bulega needs to think about the BMW behind him more than the BMW in front of him.
New personal best lap on lap 5 from Michael Rinaldi, and he's closed another half a second on Gardner and Locatelli in front of him on this lap. Ready for Michael Rinaldi enjoying what must be his best ride of the season as we watch Gardner versus Locatelli. Is there an opportunity for number 55 to get clear of the GRT bike in towards turn number 1?
riders, they'll know that there's a good chance that they've put themselves in a position to fight for a podium in this race. So important there for Locatelli to make that move.
More bad news coming up here for Alex Lowe, who is under investigation for course cutting at turn 1. Of course, riders required to give a second back when they exit the circuit. So we'll find out whether Lowe's has done.
Yeah, he's lost 2.5 seconds there in the first sector, so he's had to run through that escape, and he's dropped all the way down to the 15th spot now.
This is what happened at the beginning of the race.
You can see there Bautista, he's leaning in to get himself into the corner. There's 2 bikes beside him, and that's what caused the crash. This is looking back, and you'll see Petrucci in the middle of this group, and Gardner and Bautista, they're all kind of very close there. It's typical race incident in Showdown, unfortunately.
Petrucci is certainly getting into that from one of the riders around him. Gardner on the inside, noticeably slower than Petrucci as he tries to squeeze through between 3 riders as well. So again, you can understand why Bautista is frustrated. The reality is you don't keep qualifying back to the 7th to the 10th position on the grid, because you make yourself vulnerable to those factors. Particularly here at Austria,
yeah, exactly. If he qualifies better and doesn't have that mistake in the crash in the Super Bowl race, he's not involved in that crash.
That's got the opposite. After 2 seconds now back from Bulega, they're almost a second clear of Locatelli. Rinaldi in an isolated 6th, then Scott Redding, who's having to fend off Ika Lekuona here. This certainly looks like the Honda's best result of the weekend, as Lekuona gets through on Redding now. That's P7 for the number 7.
Yeah, good move there from Lekuona behind that as well. Axel Bassani.
A pair of them can start to close down. Ika Lekuona for 8.7.
Jonathan Ray's closing up on Ronaldo. He still has a chance of that top 6 finish, and around about 4/10 of a second faster lap.
Yes, I know that the pace was there before he made that pass on Lekuona as well, around about that 4/10 of a second per lap advantage. Remy Gardner now eyeing up Michael van der Mark for 4th position. The BMW man will have had hopes of his first podium since the 2021 Indonesia round, but those hopes are fading now with Locatelli 1.4 seconds ahead. And Remy Gardner, if he wants to get after his Yamaha stablemate and claim himself a place on the podium, he's going to get through on van der Mark swiftly. I think 3.5 laps to go and 1.5 seconds to make up on Locatelli in 3rd.
And every point matters for Remy Gardner as well. Every position matters. He's still in a bit of a fight with the likes of Ian Ole and Petrucci in the championship standings. He wants to give himself that top 6 finish through the course of this season and close up on Locatelli as well. So certainly for Remy Gardner, he wants to get through him on the
by 2.5 seconds on Nicolo Bulega. Then it's Andrea Locatelli, 2.9 seconds back. This is Van der Mark and Gardner in 4th and 5th position. For Remy Gardner, 5 seconds back is Michael Rinaldi and Jonathan Ray now only 7/10 of a second behind. That's the next battle to watch. Jonathan Ray half a second a lap faster than Michael Rinaldi. By the end of this lap, he'll be at least on his tail.
Yeah, good scrap for 4th, good scrap for 6th, and rightly we're sticking here with Remy Gardner to see if he's able to make a move on Van der Mark. Van der Mark's bike a little bit lazier on the change of direction compared to Gardner, so maybe that 16-17 complex might give the opportunity to the Yamaha riders come through.
6th place, top independent, Michael Rinaldi winning for certainly his best ride of the season so far. Had a 6th place in race 2 of the Australian round all the way back in February. To replicate that 6th place, he's going to have to fend off the greatest of all time, Jonathan Ray, behind him in 7th, and Ray 4/10 of a second, 5/10 of a second per lap faster. That looks to have an air of inevitability about it. Remy Gardner versus Van der Mark, a little bit less obvious. Gardner is visibly faster, but frustrated thus far by Van der Mark. This is the closest goal that he's been. Gardner ducks to the inside line. Van der Mark cannot respond. He'll try to keep up his momentum here. There might be an opportunity for Van der Mark down the start, finish straight at the start of the penultimate lap. Swings for a wide line. He's going to go for the cutback. We know the Yamaha is a little bit vulnerable in a straight line. 792 metres for Van der Mark to make this pass. You'll have to sit up and out of it there. We're at the back of Remy Gardner, halfway down the start, finish straight. Gardner commits to the inside line to defend the apex of turn 1, and that's Gardner now through and clear for 4th position.
Able to come through. Van der Mark still a top 5 for Van der Mark is a good performance here in March, but for Remy Gardner he had more speed, but Van der Mark's able to get his bike stopped. We saw that Remy wasn't really able to attack him in any of the braking zones, but Van der Mark keep hitting his markers. We'll see if that helps him now on the attack rather than trying to defend the position.
Michael Van der Mark 4th place in race 2 on the Catalunya round, best so far this season. Good position position finish here will be his best result since then. As we turn our attentions to the remaining scrap on this penultimate lap, it's Michael Rinaldi versus Jonathan Rea. Rinaldi top independent, 16th previous best result with Moto Corsa. He's not going to replicate it here. Jonathan Rea comes through in straightforward fashion. Rea has been about half a second a lap quicker than Rinaldi to close a 1.5 second gap and is now through for that 6th position.
Yeah, they just make the move a lot cleaner and tidier than he did on Nicolo Bulega. But for Jonathan Rea, good to see this recovery ride and able to give himself a chance of a top 6 win. Because that time last time around, a 32.8 is actually the fastest rider on the racetrack by a few tenths of a second. Even Toprak, not as fast as that as he manages his pace at the front of the field. So again, it just goes to show Jonathan Rea is able to make the Yamaha work. It's just a case of making sure you're that little bit further up the field at the start of the race.
This looks like an 8th consecutive scoring ride for Jonathan Rea. When you think about how miserable it was at the start of the campaign, he'll be pretty satisfied with that, just to keep making some progress. 2 top 6 finishes in Assen, 2 top 6 finishes at the weekend round last week, and looking for his best result of the weekend now in race 2. But it does take you a whole weekend, doesn't it, to recover when you have a mistake in the single pole section. And Jonathan Rea again has found that out to his cost this weekend.
Yeah, you just can't afford to have mistakes in Super Bowl any longer. And for Van der Mark and for Rea to come away with 5th and 6th in this race would be a really good result, considering that they both crashed on their first flying lap of the session and to put them on the back foot of the race.
Chance for Alex Lowe to nick an extra position here, but he's got a tough rider to make a move on. Andrea Iannone sits in 9th place. The pair of them are making progress on the man in front of them, Nicolo Bulega.
Yeah, Leclerc's got round about half a second clear track, and Lowe's needs to come past Iannone. He'll try and do that into turn 13 to leave himself half a chance to attack Leclerc, but it's tough to make those moves.
Worth mentioning, Leclerc is under investigation for course cutting at turn 1, so both Iannone and Lowe could probably do with being as close to him as possible in case there were to be a post-race penalty. I don't think we're going to get a penalty now, obviously, on the final lap of the race. But it's all about Toprak Razgatlıoğlu. A hat-trick on hat-tricks for Razgatlıoğlu over the line on one wheel to make it 10